Hello, welcome back to our final Lenten episode of Heaven's Kitchen. We are glad to see you one more time. I am Kathleen Folan, the Director of Family and Youth Ministries.
And I'm Brother Michael James, the Director of Community Outreach and the Lima Center.
And we are your glassed, masked Dominican chefs.
Great.
What are we making today, Brother Michael James?
Today we're making, this episode's coming out on Spy Wednesday, which means it's almost Easter.
Yeah.
So we're going to make an Easter recipe, not necessarily what you would think of it. It's lemon meringue pie.
Yum!
Yes,
the best.
which is one of Father Michael's favorites because he loves lemons. So it's a little treat for him. Also, lemons and eggs are symbols of Easter, and we'll talk about that as we're going. But first of all, we've already made our crust, and I'm going to put some instructions in the description below that I know a lot of people have the way that they want to do it. So you can use a store-bought crust, or you can make your own from a family recipe. You're going to go ahead and blind bake it, which means bake it without any filling, so it's completely done. Because with this recipe, you don't have to put it in the oven again. So once your pie crust is done, you can turn the oven off. So the next thing you need to do is the lemon curd. And this can be difficult because sometimes it requires a tempering of eggs, but the way we're going to do it, we take that step out, so it's a lot easier. Okay? So we're going to start with a cup of sugar, 8 egg yolks, and I know that's a lot, but it's Easter, it's time to enjoy that fat from the eggs. Okay, so we're going to add the eggs into the sugar. And then, Kathy, if you want to grab the lemon zest.
Okay.
And there's a zest from 1 lemon. So just go ahead and dump that in. Okay. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then we need 2/3 cup of lemon juice from Meyer's lemons. So Kathy's going to show you a little trick to finish off so that we have the right amount of lemon juice.
Right, we need a little bit more lemon juice, but I wanted to show you, so my mom always taught me wash the lemon first and avocados, even though you're not eating the outside, because once you put the knife through, it'll bring all the germs on the outside into the inside. And then to get more juice out of your lemon, in case you don't know this trick, you kind of got to beat it up and loosen the juices. So I just roll it on this board, okay, and then cut it in half. And you know when you get those Williams-Sonoma catalogs and it's filled with all sorts of gadgets that you probably don't really need, you need this. Okay, I think it's like $25 or something. It's so worth it. I use it all the time, and it gets more juice. So you put the lemon upside down in here, and then you squeeze it, and you get way more juice out of your lemon with a press like this. And so now we have 2/3 cup.
2/3 cup of Meyer lemon juice. And we're using Meyer lemons because they're a little bit smaller than regular lemons. They're a combination of regular lemons and citron across. And so they're only come out at the springtime, which is why they're a great Easter treat. They're a little bit sweeter because they're that cross between the regular lemon and citron or mandarin orange. So we're just going to whisk this up now, and then when we come back, we'll be at the stove to do the next step. So we're at the stove, and you've already mixed the ingredients together. You're going to put it on to medium-low heat, very, very little, because you don't want to, you're warming the eggs, but you don't want to cook them and end up scrambling them. So to the mixture that we already put together, you're going to add 10 tablespoons of cold butter in cubes. And this is what's going to basically give you that curd texture. Okay.
This is why it's so good.
And you just need to keep this constantly whisked for about 5 to 7 minutes. And when we come back, we'll show you the texture it should be. But again, keep the heat low and just keep whisking the whole time, and it'll begin to thicken up into that curd-like texture that we want. After about 5 minutes, if you notice that it's not thickening up, you can go ahead and turn up the heat to medium. But do be careful and continue to whisk it, because you don't want it to end up cooking your eggs in a way that they come out like scrambled eggs. When it's thick enough, you'll notice it has a little bit more, it's not so liquidy, right? And if you stick a spoon in it, and along the back, you'll be able to make a trail in the curd. Okay, so that's how you know it's ready. Okay. And then we're going to strain it, actually, through this sieve. and then put it in the fridge for just a little bit to set a little more. Okay?
Should I pour this in?
Yes. And if you did it right, the only thing that'll be left in the sieve at the end will be the lemon zest. And if you ended up cooking the egg a little bit too much, there might be a little bit of egg in there, but hopefully we did it right. And it'll all come out just a little bit of lemon zest. That looks good. Great.
It smells good.
And it smells good. Okay, and yeah, just use a little rubber spatula to get it all through. The only thing there, like I said, is a little bit of lemon zest. And make sure to get here on the bottom. Don't waste any of that beautiful curd. And if you have leftovers after we put it in the pie crust, you can use it to put on scones or toast or all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So this is a great recipe for that. So we're going to put some saran wrap on this directly onto the top of the curd so that it doesn't form a film. And then, like I said, we're going to stick it in the fridge just a little while we're doing our Swiss meringue for the top.
Beautiful.
Okay, so our lemon curd is in the fridge a little bit, chilling. And while that's getting ready, we're going to make our Swiss meringue. Now, typically, a lemon meringue pie has a French meringue. Swiss meringue, you actually end up cooking the egg whites before you whip them, and so it gives them a nice glossy texture. You don't have to worry about the graininess of the sugar so much. And then this is, again, what means we don't have to bake our pie at the end. We just will brown the meringue at the end step.
Beautiful.
And we'll have a special guest joining us for that. So we have a double broiler here, and so we have our 5 egg whites in a bowl. And then Kathy's going to turn on the heat here. Get your water boiling. You can turn it down a little bit. And to your egg whites, you're going to add 3/4 cups of sugar. It seems like a lot, but this is what gives it that texture. And then you're just going to whisk. And just like that lemon meringue, you're going to, like the lemon curd, you're going to keep it going the whole time until it starts to get frothy, until the sugar dissolves. And so that's about 4 or 5 minutes. At a certain point, you'll notice the texture of your egg whites will change. They won't feel so gooey with the sugar because the sugar has incorporated. So if you put a spoon into it, just like we did with the lemon curd, and you take it out, and on the back, you'll notice there are no granules of sugar. So it's about 140 degrees. So if you have a candy thermometer, you can use that. That's another way to help you figure it out. But it's basically gotten really frothy. So we're at the stage that we're ready to whisk it in the stand mixer now. So we're going to turn the heat off. We're going to take it over to the stand mixer, and with your whisk attachment, we've been using the hook attachment, but today you're using that whisk attachment, and you're just going to whisk it on high heat, on high speed. And at this point, if you want to add a little vanilla, you can, just to add the flavor. You could add a couple drops of food coloring if you want, but we're going with that traditional lemon meringue pie, so we're just going to keep with the white. So I'm going to take this over to the stand mixer again. Be careful, don't burn yourself. And when we come back, we'll show you what it looks like all whipped up.
All right.
Okay, so our meringue has been all whipped, again with the hook attachment. You can tell it's got these nice, soft peaks, firm peaks.
And
then,
we just pulled the lemon curd out of the refrigerator. Notice that the saran wrap is right on top of the curd, not the top of the bowl. And that's to prevent a film from creating while it's in the refrigerator.
right.
So
Take
I'll
that
just
off.
take that off and throw it away.
And it doesn't have to be really cold. You just wanted to set it to be a little firmer. So, and
Put it in
then
here.
just put it right into our pie
Oh
crust.
my gosh, it's smelling like Heaven's Kitchen already. Yum, delicious.
So, depending on how big of a pie you make, or maybe if you made little tartlets or something like that, will depend on how much lemon curd you use. And again, if you have leftovers, that's great for scones or toast or something like that. You don't want your lemon curd to come all the way up to the edge of your pie crust. You want to leave a little bit of space because that's what your meringue is going to go on the top. And then make sure you do what Kathy just did, which is to level out your lemon curd in the pie. I didn't do that the last time, and so half of my pie had a lot of lemon on one side and not so much on the other.
Just a natural.
All right, and then using a spatula, going to get your nice, beautiful meringue out. And again, it has this nice glossy texture. And you're just going to put some spots around here.
Looks like a heavenly cloud.
Yes, it does. So, and I realize we haven't really talked about the Easter component of lemon meringue pie.
Well, it is a feast, and we're about to.
Right. So we talked a little bit about the Meyer's lemons being an Easter treat because they're typically found at this time of year in the spring, end of winter, and as a symbol of life and resurrection. And then, of course, eggs, which everybody knows about Easter eggs, also being that sign of resurrection. Early Christians look into it as a little tomb from which new life came. And so that's just one of those many symbols. So what we're going to do now is use a metal spatula to spread your meringue along the top of your pie. And you're basically just taking it to those edges.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a special guest for us with the last step. As we left a moment ago, you saw us spreading the meringue. You don't want to make it smooth on the top. You want to give it a nice little design. So what I like to do is come up from the outside to the middle and just kind of swirl a little bit. And that gives you a nice little design there as you add the caramelization at the end. And that's what our special guest, Father Michael, is here to do.
We have our pastor, in case you haven't met him, Father Michael Hurley. And he brought a little kitchen torch that, my brother gave me one for Christmas a few years ago to make creme brulee. What does your torch look like, Father Michael?
Well, thank you for having me, Kathy, and Brother Michael James. You have to know your lane when it comes to cooking, and for me, that's either barbecues or blowtorches.
A Dominican with a blowtorch, you guys, this is dangerous.
I said I'll only come on if I can do barbecuing and blowtorching. So here's what we're going to do. We've got our lemon motif here in our blowtorch, and the first thing you want to make is to make sure you turn it on high immediately.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stand back a little bit. Yeah.
Now that you hear the sizzle of the gas, oh yeah, well, no, I like the match. So the match is more dramatic. No, you don't need that, but look at this. Oh yeah, now we've got that fire in on all cylinders. What you want to do at this point is you want to use the crevices in order to darken them and black them. Now, you got.
I don't want you to burn your hand.
Neither do I, but when you're a pro, you're a pro. So you kind of going in. Oh, and look at that sizzle. Look at this, so darkened. So Easter is full of fire. We, in fact, light the Paschal candle, which indeed is that light of Christ. And of course, a little bit of fire always helps bring out the natural sugars and things. And so we've got this meringue here that's going to get nice and dark with the light of flame here.
This is why you can do it on the table. Don't
yes,
worry.
you want to be very safe with this, I know.
As the director of Family and Youth Ministries, children should not do this.
Children should absolutely not do this. But this is good. So there we go. I think that's probably a good. No, you're going to turn it down and off. So very safe in every way. And here, as you can notice, we have those wonderful contours. Smell that smell. What does it smell like in here?
Heaven's Kitchen. With a blowtorch.
With a blowtorch.
If you don't have a blowtorch, you can
buy one. If you do not have a blowtorch, it's useful for many things.
You can buy one. You can also broil this in the oven for just a few minutes to get that nice brown on the top.
Yep.
And then it can either stay out for a couple of hours for the lemon curd again and everything to set and give a nice texture, or you can stick it in the fridge for another half an hour or so, and that will get it right to where it's supposed to be. Don't leave it in the fridge too long, otherwise you get that weepiness on the meringue. But thanks for joining us so much for our series, Heaven's Kitchen. Father Michael, thanks for coming today as our special guest.
Glad to be here. Bringing the light and the heat.
That's right.
And have a blessed Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, everyone.
Bye.